I recorded that song right around the time that I found out that my mom had cancer.
Hi, welcome back to Let Me Ask You Something, a weekly podcast where I, MD Pittman, talk to ordinary people about something extraordinary that happened in their lives. Now, this week in episode 5, I talked to Rayne Johnson. He is a country music singer who, in my humble and musically inexperienced opinion, is going to be a household name. Hopefully I just didn't jinx him. But we talk about why he got into music, how he got into music, and about a song that's pretty emotional for him. Around the 10-minute mark, you'll hear some technical difficulties. Bear with us. I didn't cut it out because I'm not that very good of an editor. So without further ado, enjoy my interview with Rayne. Hi, welcome to episode 5 of Let Me Ask You Something. Today we have an ordinary guy for now, Rayne Johnson. He is going to blow up. I guarantee it. Hopefully that wasn't a jinx for you, Rayne. He is a music artist, a country music artist. He's had a few successful hits, one top 40. So let me start off here with asking you this, Rayne. Well, let me ask you something. Why did you get into music?
Man, it's really been something that's kind of been a part of my life since I was a kid. My mom was kind of a pretty well-known singer in Christian music, like not in the Christian music industry, but I grew up in a pretty large church, and she was like for a long time like the singer that everyone just knew was powerful and that kind of thing. So I started singing with her when I was around. I mean, I always chalk it back to like 5 years old because I think I sang like a little duet or something on Mother's Day with her. I didn't actually really like know what that was at the time, at 5 years old. But I mean, that's kind of where it started. And it was always I think being on stage and singing was always like a thing in my family just because she did it every Sunday morning with the church and stuff like that, and Wednesday nights and stuff like that. So it's kind of like been a part of my life for a long time. And then I started playing in a Christian rock band as I got a little bit older. This all leads up. I started, in church doing praise and worship, and then I went to a Christian rock band, and then that kind of morphed into country music. I did a cover band thing in the local area around here, and then a couple years ago met my now manager, and it's just been kind of crazy. It's just always been a part of my life, so it's kind of.
Now, what church now you grew up in Fairfield, Ohio, which is in Southwest Ohio. So what church did you attend?
I grew up at a church called Princeton Pike.
Okay,
yeah. It was at the time when I was younger, it was in Hamilton. I think now it's in Fairfield Township. They've moved locations a couple times.
Yeah, I think actually now Liberty Township, somewhere around there. But
so yeah,
still in Butler, still in Butler County.
Yeah.
So how did you transition from that Christian rock music, which seems kind of like a typical start for a lot of country musicians? Yeah. How did you transition from that to country?
I think that there's if you have I don't know if you would call it I don't like using the word religious really, but if you have like a, background in church or a godly background or whatever, I feel like that you gravitate towards country music a lot because I feel like that's in there and a lot, a lot of artists are like you just said, are like that. So, I mean, for me, it was funny because in the Christian band that I played in, we did a lot of like praise and worship stuff as well. And then we would do these like youth group things on the weekends, really all across the country, like the Midwest, we did a lot of stuff like that. But there was a lot of times when we started sharing our original music because we kind of went from doing sort of cover worship stuff and doing our original music.
Slipping some originals in.
Yeah. And then, that was kind of by the end of that, we were pretty much playing other than sliding in some praise and worship songs that were known. Then we would do our mostly original stuff. Okay. But we would get comments a lot. You guys have like a lot of your songs have a country, like a modern country sound, and that was because all of us that we listened to country music as well. That's what we loved it. So, and then whenever that chapter kind of went, I've been fortunate enough for any of the bands that I've been in, there's never been like a falling out. It's always just been like a mutual kind of thing, and just everybody's moving to a different direction. And at that time, the drummer left, and the bass player, and the guitar player, we had actually always kind of talked about like, man, we should play country, man. People always say, people always say we sound country and this and that.
Yeah.
So we started playing country music a little bit together around town, and it was fun, man. It
Was
was
that the
fun, and
start
that
of
was kind of
Pistol Holler?
yeah. That's kind of when that's exactly how that was, man. And that was kind of the start of that, and
Okay.
man, I love that. And it's funny because I mean I feel like I'm a pretty grounded person, so it was cool because I grew up in church pretty like tight knit. You know, my friends were my youth group friends and stuff like that. But it was cool, man. It sounds weird, but it was cool to actually get out in bars and play music. I met so many people, you know, that are awesome, great people doing that, man. And like you said about country music, there's that, it's in there, and a lot of people have that, you know, that belief system and that kind of thing. It was a cool thing.
Now, how did you? Now you opened for your band Pistol Holler, opened for Kelly Pickler, Hunter Hayes. Now I read your bio, so I was research, not stalking. So
no, that's good. You're doing homework. That's good.
Yeah. So how did you get the opportunity to open for those two acts?
So the Kelly Pickler was at JD Legends, which I don't know if you're familiar with JD.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny because, you know, the owner there, Wasfi, he's been like super supportive of me for the longest time. And when I was in the band, he let us come. It was like, it really wasn't affiliated with Kelly Pickler. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, obviously they had to sign off on it and say that, yeah, we'll do it. You know, we'll allow somebody to open up. So we did that. And, can we shut that door? And sorry. And
no, you're fine.
That, like I said, we just came and didn't know her from Adam, but she was super great, man. Like super nice and welcoming, and it was cool. You know, it was like I'm trying not to be starstruck. You know what I mean? I'm like, this Kelly Pickler, oh my god, because that was in her heyday, man. When she was really really popping.
Right after Idol, and when she started to climb the charts.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one was just one of those things where Wasfi had let us come there and play before, and knew that we could draw a crowd, and obviously knew that Kelly was going to draw a crowd as well. And it was just one of those things that kind of worked out. The Hunter Hayes show, that's been since I've been doing the solo thing, and that was at Bogart's, which was really cool thing too. Yeah. It was just he was having a show, and I'm signed with WME booking agency, so they were involved with Live Nation and that thing like that, and they were looking for an opener for there. And by that time, I had been doing pretty well, and especially in this area because I'm from this area. You know what I mean? So they knew that I could go there. Not that Hunter Hayes needs to have somebody else help him get tickets. You know what I mean? But I think that they like to.
It broadens the market. Broadens the market.
They're going to have somebody that is known, and me being from around here, it was pretty cool. That was early on. In this part of the journey of my career, and that was a cool show, man, because it was packed out and it was fun, man.
Now for those who are listening who don't know, JD Legends and Bogarts are two classic Cincinnati areas for music, so those are big venues to get into. So you had a top 40 hit. I think can you talk a little bit about that? I think which one was it? Because I was listening I'm sorry.
Front Seat.
Yes, Front Seat. Yeah. That was the first song I came across of yours. How did that? I mean, when did you find out that was a top 40 hit? When did you? I mean, talk a little bit about that.
No, when we cut that song, like we knew that it was a good ballad, you know, but it wasn't by any means like we weren't like, oh, this is going to be a single, you know, it's going to be great. Obviously we knew it was a good song, or I wouldn't have put it on my EP, you know, and it goes out a little bit. And obviously when you're starting out, you know, you're trying to, you know, you're working every angle and trying to figure out, you know, how do I get this on country radio? Do I let the country radio people hear several songs, you know, because we weren't at the point where it's like, I'm signing a label, we're going to work this single and we're going to do it, you know? So this was more like, hey, I'm Rayne Johnson and here's what I'm doing and that kind of thing. Well, there's a guy in Boston named David Corey, and him and my manager have like a long running relationship, just kind of a business relationship. And David called up my manager and was like, "Hey, man, this song Front
Oh,
Seat, man." Did I lose you?
Rayne, are you there still?
I am here.
Oh yeah, we just had a little bit of technical. Some I don't know. It's a bad connection
Like,
here, but I think we're
you said
good.
you had glasses, and then you had them on, and I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, I was trying to read the screen here, but okay. So I think we started cutting out here a little bit about how you got into it. So let's start over on that part where you talk a little bit about how you your reaction to your top 40 hit.
Yeah, the guy up in Boston took a chance and just started playing on country radio, and then we kind of can watch that stuff as it goes, you know. And it was really, really weird, man. There was a super big reaction to it. It went from, and I don't want to bore everyone. I don't know if everybody knows how country radio works. I'm sure it works with pop radio too. You kind of start out and they'll spin you at nighttime, you know, and spin you in the evening when no one, not when no one's listening, but not in the prime times. And then if the song performs well, then they'll bump you up. Well, they ended up putting Front Seat into rotation, and it was going through the day.
Yeah.
And he said that they were getting calls. That he said, I can't remember the exact numbers because it's been about 2 years now, but he said he actually would call us and say, "Man, this song's reacting so well. I haven't had people calling into the station and like saying who was that or what was that
Yeah.
song? Can you play this song?" So for us, it kind of caught us off guard. We knew, like I said, we knew it was a good song, but we didn't know people were going to react to it that way. And you know, as an independent artist, it's tough. It's really, really tough, man, to compete with these big things. But it was the audience, man. It was the fans. They loved the song, and it seemed like everywhere that it was played at, we got that same reaction. And for me, it was like surreal because it's like if I talk about my reaction to it, you kind of watch the numbers. You know, you watch it go up the charts, so you kind of know when you don't know when it's going to do it because you don't know if it's going to, but you're watching it and you're hoping. So the excitement isn't like somebody just calls you one day and is like, "Dude, you have a top hit." The exciting thing for me was, it's so crazy, is that I would go to Boston, and I'm just using a couple of places that really stick out in my mind. And I went like, so think about that. I'm in Boston, and then I go to San Jose.
Oh,
And
wow.
these people don't know who I am. I don't feel like they know who I am. I've never been to San Jose in my life. I live in Ohio. You know what I mean? And I go there, and I'm playing with other acts and stuff, and these people sing the song, man. And not only do they sing that song like word for word, there's like other songs that are on that they don't know word for word, but they're singing along the chorus, and I'm like, what is happening? This is the crazy.
So I mean, when that happens, that connection happens, what does that mean to you, and how does that make you feel? Obviously great, but
Yeah, you know what? I'm a really people person. Like, that's probably my favorite thing to do is when I'm at shows and getting to meet people. Even if it's not meet and greet, I'll like go out and just, because I'm at that spot where I don't go out and get mobbed. You know what I mean? I'll go out and hang out with people and say hello, walk around. And you know, it's weird because when I feel like that, when I feel that I hear people singing my song back, for some reason, it makes me feel instantly connected to them, like I'm their friend. And I just want to, like, there's been times like I did that in San Jose. I stopped at the end of the song, and I'm just like, okay, now we're like best friends now. You know, it's just a weird thing because you go from that moment of I'm performing these songs that I don't think that anyone's going to even know at all, to them knowing it 100%, and it's like, wow, these people know me, you know. So for me personally, it's like it's a connecting thing. I don't know. I can't really put into words exactly how it works out in my brain, but it's a super connecting thing. And then you let your guard down because you're like, okay, they're no longer trying to figure me out. They already know me, you know.
Now, when did you have your concert at Mandolin?
Oh, I don't know the exact date, but I'm going to go with, that was probably like a month ago. I think it was, what is it? Just in January? April is April.
Yeah, it was.
No,
I
think it was April. I think it was April 11th. I think I
Okay.
could be, or March 11th, maybe. I could be wrong.
It could be March 11th because I think it was. I saw the posting on March, sometime in March. So, now you sang a song, "Love 'Em While You Can," and you talked a little bit about how that was a difficult song for you to sing because of your mom who passed away from cancer. What, about a year and a half ago? Little under that.
It was. Yeah, it was. You're right. Yeah.
So how emotional was that for you? I mean, you got through it. It didn't seem like you were struggling through it, but you can tell that you were feeling it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I told the story a little bit on there. I can just kind of brush over it. I got that song literally. I'd had the song for a little bit, learning it, and then I was actually going into the studio to do vocals on that song, and it was like a Thursday or something like that, and I'm literally about to leave the house, and I get a phone call, and my mom's like, at that time we didn't know what it was, but she's upset. She's at the doctor and stuff like that. So that's why it's kind of like has a connection, because I recorded that song right around the time that I found out that my mom had cancer. Obviously, at the time, those lyrics are like, wow, like this could be me. Like I need to pay attention to this, because and my mom, I'm an only child, so my mom's like, she's my mom. You know what I mean? Like there's I don't have to share it with anybody else. So it's like, so I played as soon as like time goes by and the song was cut and stuff like that. And mom passed away, and she passed away like 2 days, or I think it was either a day or 2 days before I was supposed to play an actual cancer benefit.
Yeah.
So at the benefit, they're like, my manager's like, dude, you got to do Love 'Em While You Can. And I'm like, dude, we're lucky that I'm even here. Cause I mean, my dad and I, it's just him and I left basically, and he even said to me, he was like, I want to go to the show with you. I want you to play. I don't want you to, there's no reason for us to sit around at home and hope around. I'm like, and that's my personality too. I'm like, let's do it. Well, then my manager's like, he knew too. He's like, I don't know if you can do it or not, but if you can, man. And I'm like, there's no way. Absolutely no way. I'll get like halfway into the first verse and I'll ball,
Yeah.
So like you said, times went by, and then COVID kind of hit. So I didn't really have an opportunity to play the song that much.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that helped me. And then at the mandolin show, I was like, I put it on the set list. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it this time, because I'm glad that I didn't really do it acoustically, like just a stripped down acoustic, because I do a lot of those shows too. But I was like, I talked to the band and we were hanging out and just talking about it, and they know what that song's like for me. And I said, we're obviously going to get to rehearse some, and I'm going to get a lot of these feelings out of my system while we do that. This song is always going to be emotional to me, even though I played 100 times, but at least it's not like I wasn't like on mandolin. I that was the first time that I, had to sit there and do it. I did know that the cameras were on and all those people were looking at me, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it did help to get to that. I even said that on the show, that it was cool to do it with my guys, because they knew the situation. They knew what was going on. And I mean, you probably can't see it on the video, but like in my mind, I know my guys got my back. If I try and mess up, they're just going to vamp on this they don't care if it's 20 minutes or if it's 5 minutes. They'll just sit there and wait for me to come, so it made it a lot easier. But still it's a great song, man. I feel like lots and lots of people can connect to that song. It's really, really a good song.
Now, how much does your hometown mean to you? Not necessarily it's a place you grew up and it's always got a place in your heart, but I mean, how much do you get back? Do you still live in the area? I guess talk a little bit about your hometown of Fairfield.
Yeah, so I don't live in Fairfield anymore. I think I moved out of Fairfield when I moved out of Fairfield around 20, but I moved to Fairfield Township. So, but I've kind of Fairfield's in the city, obviously.
Yeah.
And well, maybe not everybody knows that, but Fairfield's a city town. It's in town. So I always wanted to be in the country and kind of move out into the country a little bit. So I've probably always been within a 40-minute drive, maybe even less, 30-minute drive to Fairfield.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say I have like a deep rooted connection to there. I absolutely, I'll drive back there and reminisce. Like I'll go through town, I'll show my boys, and I was like, there's the house I grew up in, and here's how far. Look, I'll drive in the car from the house to like parks that I used to ride my bike to, and be like, look how far. Can you believe I used to ride my bike this far? Stuff like that. But I honestly, I hopefully this doesn't come across bad. I'm more just probably supportive and invested in just Ohio,
Yeah.
In general, just from being here. Because normally when somebody asks me where I'm from, I'll say, Southwest Ohio. Or I don't
Yeah.
Fairfield, Ohio, because
Yeah.
who knows where that is? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah. Well, I grew up in Wyoming, Ohio. Not Wyoming. When I say I'm from Wyoming, the state, no, the city,
right,
but
exactly right.
it's about 2,000 people. So, but with your hometown, going back there, if you were to play in Fairfield, what's the one place you'd play at? There's one correct answer though.
Oh, really? In Fairfield, there's only one correct answer.
At least for me.
Is it an inside venue or is it?
No, it's an outdoor venue.
Yeah, is it the one over there? I played it a long, long time ago. Man, I don't even remember the name of it. Well, if we're talking, is it big?
Yeah, it's Village Green.
Yeah,
yes.
I don't remember I can't remember the name of it. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, yes, I know exactly. It's so funny because Village Green is funny to me because I've eaten there in restaurants right by there.
Yeah,
I've watched people get engaged on the little gazebo thing.
Yeah,
played there before. I've rode my bike down there before. It's so funny, yeah.
So you're going to be playing the country concert here in Fort Laramie. This is just for people who don't know. It's a huge country concert, 3-day venue, 3-day event. You're opening on July 10th, or you're playing on July 10th. Jason Aldean's the major act that night.
Yeah.
What's that? I mean, have you played the country concert before, or
man?
What's this like?
So growing up here, I haven't even been to it. It's so funny. I mean, I've never even been.
I've never been either, so fair enough.
Yeah.
But I guess, how did you get the invite to that, and what's your thoughts on playing this huge? I mean, this will be a big opportunity for you.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I don't always get to know all the exact things. I mean, with Front Seat slipping into the 30s and stuff, it was like people were paying attention. Like they're like, who is this guy? What's going on? And so with me being at that point being affiliated and involved in Nashville, having my major booking agent and stuff like that, and having those guys working for me, they got me on that bill, like, and that's like I said, I don't always know exactly how it works. If somebody, they call us or whatever, how it works, but
they just tell you to show up, right?
Exactly, man. And I mean, so I guess I come back to it. Like, I don't really get out of every part of this music journey and stuff. I enjoy live shows more than anything else, man. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. Every part of it. I mean, meeting folks, getting to see, other acts opening up or headliners or whatever, and being on stage. So for me, it's like you said, it's a big opportunity. All I'm excited about and pumped about is knowing the crowd that Jason Aldean is gonna draw there, and I get to. That's my time to let them know who I am.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm most excited about.
So letting them know who you are. I mean, you've been kind of inspired by a few people. I think I read in your bio here. Your mom listened to Sinatra and Elvis, and your dad listened to George Jones, Willie, Merle Haggard. You're also influenced by some of the R&B music, Boyz II Men, Babyface, Brian McKnight. Love Brian McKnight. So how has that background influenced your sound?
So I would say mostly my email opened up here. Sorry about that. I would say mostly that I'll do a lot of runs, man. Like I'm pretty confident in my vocal ability to do runs and stuff, to the point where sometimes I have to tone it down. Sometimes I'm told to, like, hey, you gotta back off on the runs, man. So that's probably, the run part, and just being able to be comfortable with my voice is literally from listening to like Boyz II Men, Brian McKnight, Babyface, and those guys, and just mimicking them as I was growing up and stuff. And because I just really, really, really liked the way that they sang. Mm-hmm. I'm going somewhere with this. And then on the flip side of it, I have my dad to thank for the old classic country stuff. It's funny because I had my dad always played that stuff. My dad had a water hauling business when I was a kid. He used to haul water to people who didn't have city water. And I would ride around with him in the summertime, when school wasn't out or school wasn't in. And that's all he'd listen to, was classic country. So I think I learned from that, the storytelling part of country music, like classic country, all those old songs, like there's not much to them other than the story. You know what I mean? And it's not like it's fancy music, So I've been fortunate enough to this point in my career, I've got to work with some good writers, and Joe, which is a guy who's written a lot of songs with me and for me on his own. He understands the concept that I'm trying to pitch, and I think he's this way as well, where it's like, hey, let's have these new modern country songs that are fun and cool, like what's popular now, what everybody loves. But let's try to incorporate some stories in them, and keep to that old school kind of storyline instead of just. And I'm always leery of saying this stuff because I love every Florida Georgia Line song there is, you know what I mean? And a lot of songs that are those party anthems and stuff like that. And I have those songs as well, but I also, that's where we've tried to be like, okay, let's have that same feel, but let's tell a story at the same time, Bring It Back is probably one of my favorite songs that I do. And it's probably the most pumping song I have, but it's a story about like bringing back old school love that we, that our grandparents had and stuff like that. So I think that's where all my influences kind of collide. Obviously I don't sound like freaking George Jones or you know what I mean. I can never say that, but those guys. I mean, I went through a stage in my life where when I was. It wasn't when I first started driving, but I was probably 18 or so, dude. All I listened to was classic country. Like my whole collection was just classic country.
So now 2021 is going to be a big year because you're going to be releasing your first album. So when is that going to be coming out? What's going to be on it? How many songs you're going to have?
So what we're doing right now is it's kind of morphing daily. The way that things are right now. I just I released the EP out, and now we're trying to do this thing where we're doing a song. I don't want to quote this wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is how we're doing it. We're trying, because I just cut 2 songs just this past week. We're going to try to release a song a month, I think it is. And if we get something done, we may do more than that. And we're gonna basically have these like mini EPs that encompass an album of its own. So it's basically going to be, some packages of songs that turn into the album. So it isn't like I'm just gonna So it's not gonna be like, hey guys, in October I'm dropping a 12-song album, So it's kind of gonna come out a little bit at a time, because I feel like right now people are just hungry for music, man, and sometimes they don't want to wait,
So to put it into literary terms, you're releasing a collection of short stories.
Yeah, I like it, man. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
All right. But you don't have a timeline yet. It just when it comes out, or
no? I mean,
as far as that collection itself.
Yeah, I would say that I would say there's a good chance. What are we in? We're in the middle of May right now. There's a good chance that April. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Your time is all off.
Oh man. Yeah. So I'm a month ahead, right? So yeah, I would say there's a good chance that within a month, maybe before the end of this month, that one of them could be released. And it'll be on social media, letting everybody know when it's coming. Yeah. It's one of those things that we're trying to get it done and make sure it's good and not rush it, but also get it out pretty quick, All
right. Now, what's your favorite song that you've sung so far? What's your favorite? It's like picking a child.
Yeah. I mean, I would say if you ask me to about live, like when I'm playing live, it's definitely Bring It Back. It's probably my favorite song, just because it's probably the most rocking song that I have, and the band loves it, and you can feel the energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one of, like, there's tons of songs in the set and on the EP that we love to play, but when the crowd gives it back to us and we play it better and with more energy. Mm-hmm. That song is the song that, like, the whole crowd can just sit there with their arms crossed, and we're still gonna rock it out because we just love it. So yeah, I would say Bring It Back. But if I had to pick one that I've recorded, I would say Love 'Em While You Can, as of right now, just because the meaning behind it. Yeah. And it's a great song. I mean, it's a good song, man.
Now, how many have you written or co-written or involved in the writing process?
Yeah, I have not written any of the songs solo at all.
Yeah.
I write better with people. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just my nature. I'm a people person, and I like throw my ideas off of people. Um, I don't even know the number, man. Honestly, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know the number of all the songs that I've cut. How many there are? I mean,
Yeah.
I would say, probably at least probably half or so. I would say that
Okay.
I've been on or whatever. I don't want to get in trouble for quoting that wrong
No,
because it may be
no, no.
more, it may be
Yeah.
less, but
Yeah.
but
But how, I mean, is
yeah,
that something that you enjoy, the writing process, or?
yeah, absolutely, man, yeah. And I also go through kind of like phases and moments where sometimes I'm really really hungry for it, then other times if I'm in the studio recording and my creativity process is being released in other areas, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like I don't really miss it. But then when things slow down, I'm like, man, we better start writing. I don't know. Not everybody maybe understands that, but as an artist, if you like shut your creativity off, man, it's not good for
Yeah.
you, and it
Yeah.
feels awful. So you got to find an avenue to release.
All right. I have really one other question, and this is the question I wanted to ask from the jump, but I saved it for the end.
All right.
The piano player, his beard. He's got an epic
Yeah.
beard. What is his name? Because he needs to be highlighted because of that beard.
Yeah. So his name's Sky White, man. Yeah, and I met him through this little journey. He's such an eccentric guy, man. So cool, man. And he's got like a tea company that he's like a legit tea company, man.
Oh, really?
He's like he's so into it, man. He's like handpicks all the ingredients and has somebody help him blend it all. I mean, he's got people that do that stuff for him. Yeah, dude, it's amazing, man. But Sky's a super cool guy, man. He's very,
and I'll link to some of your videos and all that in the somewhere on the YouTube section of it and the show notes of the audio. But his beard is like down to his stomach. It seems like, or at least down to his mid chest.
You're 100% right. But the funny thing is about Sky is that if you come to a live show, or maybe you could notice it on the mandolin thing a little bit, or some of those live videos, like his charisma and like his how he is, his stage presence, it's so big that you probably forget about his beard. I know that sounds crazy, but
it was really, for me, I really noticed it in the video of Front Seat, because he had the white tail tux.
Yeah, yes.
And it was really highlighted, and it's like, that is so cool.
I can't tell you how many. So I'll finish with this because we'll bring it back to the beard thing.
Yeah.
I have Sky in the band with the beard, and then one of my best friends, he's got a beard that's probably half as long as Sky's. It's pretty long. I mean, it's pretty long.
Yeah.
And I can't. And he runs like security for me, like a lot of times, or just he's always at the show to make sure he's one of those guys that's super selfless, man. And he's just like, what do you need? I'll do it for you. I'm here to help you. What are you doing? And every time him and Sky are around, if meet and greet or whatever it is, I can't tell you how many times I get this right here. A girl leans over to me and goes, I just want to stroke their beard. Is that okay if I do that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, hey, that's between you and them, I don't know. So you have Sky and Chris, and they're over there, and they're like, and you get these girls coming over just. It's almost like
want to touch it.
It's like an attraction, they just go. It's like you get one pass. It's so funny, man.
All right. Well, great. Well, Rayne, I appreciate the time. Anything else you'd like to say? Any parting words? Words of wisdom you'd like to say or share?
I mean, a lot of times I get the question asked, like, what would you say to an artist or people that aspire to do something in music or whatever it be? And you can encompass that in what dancing, whatever, something as an artist, whatever. Just there's going to be things, man, along the way that try to pull you away from being who you are and yourself. And you got to just stay true to yourself. That's probably the biggest thing that I feel like I'm decent at doing that. And I've seen points where it's been tough for me to be like, no, something looks like a big diamond there, but you're like, no, that's not me. So I need to not do that. So yeah, I just stay true to yourself and, do you. That's all I have.
All right. Rayne Johnson, thank you very much for being on the podcast here. So, and that is episode number 5 for me here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.